So this puts us in an interesting position. I don't think that that flop hit him, but an intelligent player could make the assumption that it also did not hit us. He decided to let it go without much of a fight, but that is an interesting situation to be first to act in a hand like that. And here we see some action between these two. Gamma Llama tried to steal with King 8, and King Jeebus happened to have Ace King, and he takes it down. Gamma Llama is now the short stack, and I'm gonna keep filming here as opposed to pausing, even though I'm not really playing that many of these hands. I think it is good to show you guys an idea of just what general play is going to be like at these levels. You have to realize that poker is not only the big hands, as many people are seeing on TV. It involves a lot of folding. And alright, let's see. This is probably going to be a call. We're going to hope he's just got something like Ace-5 or a hand like that. It would be unfortunate if he had pocket sixes or a higher pair that really were unlikely to win against, but so we're going to call and hopefully take him out. He has Ace-Jack, which is fine. And there it is. There's the 4 on the turn. Leaves him drawing dead for the river card. And we're heads up, we're in the cash. And Sandman has been tight aggressive, but I've also noticed that he's been a little bit passive post-flop. And again, I'm going to try to... I'll make a note on that right here in case I play against him again. I'm going to say fairly passive post-flop. And we're going to come out of our shells a little bit here, and we're just going to try to win just a good majority of the hands. And really, well, I guess we're running pretty hot, but be raising a good amount of the time. Before this, I've been playing pretty tight. I've only played, I was playing 18% of the hands going into heads up. Now I'm going to be raising a lot, stuff like that. Alright, we picked up the nut flush redraw. He's most likely going to take a stab at it here, and we're going to let go. Unfortunate that we lost with Ace King, but that's the way it is. Usually he had been folding on the flop to my continuation bets, and so when he called me on the turn, I decided, also with the third flush card appearing on the board, I decided that it wouldn't be good to take another stab at it. Instead, it would be best to just let it go. Here I've got queens. I'm going to play this pretty strong because that's a dangerous board. And there he goes again, folding to my continuation bet. Although I'm sure it was the right fold that time. 10 king. I'm going to raise this up. I'm going to become, as I was saying earlier, much more aggressive in heads up. And because he limped in, I don't think he has an ace, and he just insta-folds. King, queen, raising it up, definitely. Sooner or later, it's likely that what may happen is he will just kind of get sick of it, and he will just end up trying to make a move on me with second pair or something. Hopefully I'll be able to catch him doing that. Here he bets 100 into a pot of 600, and a club. If a club comes up, I've got a good flush draw. If a jack comes up, I have a straight. He bets 400 now. A bet of 100 really shows weakness, so I'm going to continue to call this down and see this hand to the river. So we didn't make anything. Now, this is a fairly, in general, I'd call this a bad play, what I'm about to do. If he has an ace, he's calling us. If he has a 10, he may call us. And I would never try this at higher stakes, but the $5 level he's showing weakness on the river, and it's very risky to just call, and then bet out like that, but in that case it worked, and so we ended up taking it down. Generally, though, I think that's a weak play. People get caught a lot doing that, so I would avoid it most of the time. I just think he showed weakness on the flop. If he had an ace, I believe he would have bet more. On the turn, he bet out a little bit stronger, but the check on the river really kind of betrayed the strength of his hand. And here, I'm just going to let him have it. Queen 8, I really had no draws, so it doesn't make sense to me to call any bet there. Second pair here. I don't really have much of a kicker, but I've picked up a gut shot now. He raised me. We're gonna let him take the initiative with this hand. I now have 2 pair, and this is an interesting situation because a 7 would give somebody a straight now. There's no flush possibilities on the board, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is bet for value. And if he has a 7, he'll raise me. But as it turned out, he didn't have a 7. And so sometimes people would check in that position, but judging by how he raised me on the flop, he had a hand that he wanted to protect. And I think, unfortunately for him, I drew out on him. But it seemed unlikely that he had a 7 there. Okay, I called. I was not thinking through that hand completely clearly. I called bet on the turn when I probably shouldn't have, but that's fine. Alright, we flopped 2 pair. We're just going to bet out half the pot. He calls, and we're just going to bet a little bit stronger because that card isn't great for us. So that 10 doesn't really, I don't think it hurts us, because I believe it's still unlikely that somebody has 6-9 or 9 jack, the straight cards. And I think our 2 pair is good here, although now I'm thinking it's not. My hope would be here that he rivered 2 pair 8s and 10s. I don't think he would have called a flop bet with 9-10, but we saw him call with a gut shot before. I'm just going to put them all in, and if he has us, he has us. He had 9 jack, so he had a gut shot. He rivered it. That's unfortunate. Not much you can do there. But we're still in this game, so let's not give up yet. Jack Queen, we're going to just play it just like it is. We're going to bet out strong. So there's not much to be said about that hand. He made fairly bad calls all the way down, as I'm doing here. This is it's called a float, just betting out and then or calling and then betting out on the next street. I believe he was bluffing on the flop. My guess would be that he picked up a flush draw on the turn, decided to call my bet, and then on the river he just gave it up. He's got